Welcome to the next training video in our series on the Web Mountain Technologies RUC02. This session will show you how to set up Upstart and the RUC02 for use with Amazon Alexa so that you can control your UPB devices using your voice. The first item we need to discuss is using Upstart to simplify your Alexa invocations. This is very important. Let's talk some about that. So this could be when you were setting up your initial Upstart network, or you're going to tweak an existing Upstart file. The Upstart room, device, and link or scene names will be used as the Alexa invocation phrases, so it will pay dividends to spend some time polishing those. You want easy to remember and simple to speak invocations. Let's give some examples here. This is an Upstart file. Notice we have several devices on here. This first device is called Front Porch, where front is the room name and porch is the device name. Or Christmas is the room name, lights are the device name. So your invocation phrase for this would be, Alexa, turn on front porch. Or Alexa, turn off Christmas lights. Here's a bad example. Room name is Great Room, but the device name is Xmas Tree rather than Christmas Tree. So your invocation phrase for this device would be, Alexa, turn on Great Room Xmas Tree. That's not an easy to remember, simple to understand invocation phrase, so take some time and tweak these. Make it simpler and make it more user-friendly. Make sure you don't have duplicate names. For example, a device called Kitchen Lights and a scene called Kitchen Lights. That's a no-no. Avoid numbers and special characters in names, especially special characters. Special characters such as ampersand, quote marks, single quote marks can break the export. So avoid those in any names. Here's another great example. One of our users for some stairway lights made the room name Stairway and the device name To Heaven. So the invocation phrase became, Alexa, turn on Stairway to Heaven in honor of the old RUC song. Just remember that if any time you make a change in Upstart and you want that change used by Alexa, you will need to do another export from Upstart to the RUC02, plus you'll need to do another device discovery within Alexa. Okay, once you have your Upstart file created the way you want it, you now need to export the Upstart UPE file into the RUC02. We already gave an example of how to do this in the session on using the RUC02 with Upstart, but here it is again. Back to our Upstart file, and notice that we're connected. It's giving us a disconnect option, so that indicates that we are connected, and we're doing this using the RUC02 as an Ethernet PIM. So come up to the UPB circle, export, do an export to WMT RUC. And I just downloaded this version of Upstart yesterday, and it's got a bug in it, actually a couple of bugs. So I'll show you the bug here in 1 second, but notice that we're going to do an export to local RUC, and it shows the IP address of the RUC that we're going through. You must use the WMT RUC user. This is fixed. You can't change that. You must use port 80. You can't change that. So give it the password for that particular unit, and if you desire, go ahead and check this box so it saves password for the next export. The next time it would come through and use that. Okay, I'm going to click on Begin Export, and notice it gave me this little pop-up, enter an integer. This is the bug. Even though I'm trying to do a local export to a local RUC, for some reason it's wanting me to have something in this text box. So I just put a number in there, number 1. And now we'll come up and do this. I've reported this to the Upstart author, and so this is going to be corrected here shortly. All right, so now we're going to do, click on Begin Export. It's working at it. And right there you notice it went to not responding. Ignore that. This might take longer, especially if you have a very large UPE network. This could take a while, and this function is just sitting there. It has a timeout when it gives you that error message. So just ignore that and keep going. If you were doing that remotely, you might have to extend this remote export timeout from 15. The default is 15. You might want to make that 120 seconds or something like that if you have a very big UPB network. Go ahead and close that. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect since we've done that. And now let's go verify that. I'll talk about that briefly. We want to verify that the export from Upstart worked and is loaded on the RUC. So the way to do that is to go to the Triggers menu on the RUC, the RUC user interface, leave all the settings as they come up, and under the Send section, click on the drop-down that says Other Devices. If the export was successful, you'll see your devices listed there. Also, when we're on the RUC user interface, you can go to the menu item, Export Voice. From here, you can see what commands can be issued to Alexa, and you can also decide to not use certain commands. So let's go into the RUC user interface. And now we notice here we're on the trigger page. We're under, you see UPB Direct, but look under Other Device. Click on that. Here's all of our devices that got exported. Christmas lights, front porch. We can also come and look at UPB links or scenes, and those are all there as well. Okay, now come down and click on Export Voice, and if you look at voice commands and generate commands, this shows you a list of all of the available invocation phrases you can use with Alexa. So it would be Alexa, turn on a scene name, all, turn on all, or Alexa, turn on Christmas tree, turn on front lights, turn on landscape. Same way down here with devices, then you can do Alexa, turn on front porch, Alexa, turn on guest light. The devices down at the bottom where you see Alexa set, these are dimmable devices, and you can set them to a dim level. So for example, you could say Alexa, set front porch to 50%, something like that. Okay, come back to Export Voice and come down to Edit Voice Commands, and this is where everything that got exported, there might be some of these that you don't want to actually use. So for instance, like right here, landscape 0. This is something I've been using for testing, but I don't want that to show up under Alexa, or 10, 20, or 50. I just want it to be landscape. And you probably don't want scene 241 to show up, which is the default scene within the SW7 dimmer for how it works. So you can disconnect those things, and then those don't get exported into the Alexa system, and are not available as a invocation phrase. So then you just, once you've modified that, just come down and click on Submit. And now all of that information is saved. Okay, now that we've got all of the Upstart modifications made, and we've set up the RUC02 and made the export into the RUC02, now it's time to set up Alexa itself. So we want to set up the Amazon side. There's two ways to do this. You can go to alexa.amazon.com on a PC, or use the Alexa app on your smart device. We're just going to do it with the PC right here. The process is very similar on your smart device, a smartphone or a tablet. In fact, it might even be a little bit easier doing it on a tablet or a smartphone. But we're going to do it on a PC, as that's much easier for this presentation. So the first thing you'll do is browse to alexa.amazon.com on a PC. You're going to need to log in with the same credentials you used when you set up your Amazon Echo device. Once you're in, you'll click on Skills in the left-hand menu. Now, if this is a new first time you've used the skill or trying to use Alexa, then you'll need to download our skill and install it into Alexa, the Alexa app. So now in the search bar at the top, type in Web Mountain Voice for UPB. You can just type in Web Mountain Voice and it'll find it. Find the skill. It's a blue circle with a light bulb as an icon, and install the skill. You might be prompted to set up the skill, but in case you have to go find it, click on Your Skills at the top right, then on the middle click on All Skills, and it might also show up under Recently Added. And I'll show you this in a minute. This is a little confusing in here. Oops. Once you've installed the skill, to set it up, you will be asked to enter a port number and a password. The port number will be something like 1XXXX, where the XXXX is shown on the index card taped to your RUC when you receive it. This is the remote access port for your RUC 02. The password is the password shown on the index card for the WMT RUC user. It must be this password. It can't be the admin password. It's got to be the WMT RUC password. A new screen will pop up saying you have been successfully linked. Close this news screen, go back to the main skill screen, and now you should see a selection button for Discover Devices. Go ahead and click on this button. Something seems to have changed within the Alexa app recently, and this isn't actually how it's working. I'll show this to you in a minute, and then we'll walk through how to do this. You will see a message that the discovery is ongoing and will take approximately 20 seconds. It might take longer, especially for large UPB networks. In fact, it could take a couple of minutes if you've got a really large network. Once it finishes, you can click on Devices and you should see all your devices as seen listed. Then just go try it out. Alexa, turn on kitchen lights. So let's go in to the Alexa app, and this is the app on Windows 10. And we'll just kind of walk through this again. So I've already signed in to alexa.amazon.com. I'm at the home page. So the first thing you do is you'll click on the left-hand menu, click on Skills. If this is your first time, you'll come up here and you'll type in Web Mountain Voice, and then you go search for it. And once you search, you just follow the prompts and go ahead and install it. But assuming that you already have that installed, then come up and now click on Your Skills. And most of the time it'll come up to Recently Added, and in my case it's not showing the skill under there, so you have to go click on All Skills. And you can see I come down here, and here's Web Mountain Voice Control for UPB. Notice it says Account Linking Required. So click on that. And it comes up to this screen, and this is what you would see on your initial install of the skill, that you need to enable that. So click on Enable, and it'll ask you then for the port. In this case, that's the test unit, and then you give it the password, and remember this is the password for the WMT RUC user. And then click on Proceed. It'll take a couple of seconds. And then it comes up and says voice control for UPB has been successfully linked. Now come up and close this page. Notice there's another page here on Amazon Alexa. Close this page and you're taken back to this. Now this is the difference. Something has happened here. In the past, this would have automatically changed to say disable, and a pop-up would come up here saying discover devices. For some reason that's not happening anymore. So to get to that, just refresh the screen or click on your back button and then forward button again, and it should come up and you get this screen. So now you can do disable skill and you can do settings. So we'll go to settings and we're going to manage smart home devices, and we'll come up to devices, and it already actually did the discover for me. If it didn't do the discover, come down and just from this screen right here on the devices, scroll all of the way to the bottom and click on discover. And then it would go through and do that for you. Go back and you can see scenes. And the same thing with all the scenes. They're showing up here as well. And again, you can do the discovery from here as well if you would prefer. You can enable or set up your own groups if you want. Create groups there. There's also a lot of other things you can do. Advanced settings, and there's some other information under other things you can do, setting up schedules and things like that. And you can do all of that on your own Just get in and play with it some. So anyway, we are now linked and all the devices have been discovered, and so we're up and working. You can go to your Amazon Echo device, and I'll show you here. Go into devices. Now you could go to your Amazon Echo device and say, Alexa, turn on Christmas lights. Alexa, turn off upper bedroom fan. Alexa, turn on front porch. Alexa, turn on loft. So all of those are there for you to be able to work with, and you should be up and functional now. You can also set up the Alexa system using the Alexa app. Open the app, then click on the icon for the menu. And you need to get to that left-hand menu that we saw on the page a minute ago. On the Android, it'll be 3 lines in the upper left corner. You'll see the menu option for iOS as well. Then you're going to select Skills and Games. Use the magnifying glass symbol to search for web mount and voice control and install the skill. If you have to search for the skill, go to your skills and then select the skill. If you did this or it automatically took you to the setup page, click on Enable Skill. Then from there on, the app looks very similar to how we set up the PC app earlier. Again, once the app is set up, try issuing a voice command. Alexa, turn on kitchen lights as an example. This concludes our video tutorial series on the Web Mountain Technologies RUC02. If you have any further questions or need additional information, please contact us at the email address shown here. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your business.